because it's too tight at this end for it to get round. Hi guys, bought this little toy boat in a charity shop. Cost me £1.50. It's got wheels on it and it all clips apart nicely, I hope. Yeah. Okay. Now, long-term plan is probably to make it radio controlled, but short-term I'm going to see if I can make it rubber band powered. I'll need to poke a hole in the back there so we can have the propeller shaft come out. I'll make up one of my little propellers from a bit of aluminium foil. Can't make it too big if it's going to fit in there. The rubber band can come straight up, probably hook up here somewhere. Yeah, and just sit that back on top and let it run round the bath, or at least, yeah, that's what we'll try anyway. So, propeller, I've done this on a few of my videos already. Just gonna make a nice 3-bladed propeller. So, how big can we go? Unless we have it sticking right out the back here, it's gonna have to be fairly small. Not going to be able to be much bigger than that if it's going to be turning under there, even if we have it down at a bit of an angle. So yeah, I reckon that's going to be as big as we can go. Yes, that's going to be quite small. So I can work on it easily without it flicking up. Really ought to put my glasses on. Make this accurate, but I don't think it's going to matter. We're not talking high performance speedboat here. I've just rubbed it with a pencil, so I think you can see the 3-petal design. When you're cutting thin metal like this, just remember it's going to be sharp edges. So you could quite easily cut yourself. Right, I need to you don't want to go too far in, otherwise you'll cut the petals off. All the blades, propeller blades. So something like that, with a bit of a gap. And the other thing is, when you're trying to wind the propeller up, if you're pushing it with your finger, then you'll probably cut your finger on the sharp metal. There's two ways around that. One is to use some sort of a peg to wind it up, and the other trick is to wind the rubber band up from the other end. Right, that's our propeller, and you'll need to twist it a little bit. And depending on which way you twist it, depends on which way it needs to turn to push the boat forwards. The way I've got this at the moment, if this is the back, then it needs to turn clockwise to push the boat forwards. Right, now we need a bent paper clip, a pair of pliers. And what I might do here, just to make sure it sticks out a bit, is use, this is the tube from a cotton bud. But if I do that, there we go, that's the tube from our cotton bud. And the paper clip, when we straightened it out, it's a nice fit in there. Now we are going to get a little bit of water come in. I don't think it'll come in fast enough for the boat to sink, and if you're worried about it, you could always put some foam inside the boat to stop it sinking. But I think in my bath it's really not going to matter. If you're doing it in a pond, you might want to think about that. I need some beads. I've got some nice little ones here. Oh, we need to make a slightly bigger hole in there. That should do the job. Going to go in there. I'll put a bit of hot glue on there to hold that in place. Bead. Got another one there, so I might as well use two beads. If I'd used tin plate instead of aluminium, I could have actually soldered that in place. But soldering onto aluminium is a bit of a pain. So that's what we're going to do, and then at this end we'll fold up a hook to hook the rubber band onto. Right, while the hot glue gun's warming up, we can make a hole in here. Yeah, that should do. Noisy motorbike out there somewhere. Yeah, that's going to sit on there like that. Bit of hot glue on it. That looks just about the right size. And put a bit of hot glue in there as well. Right, propeller's in place. And that does look like that's going to clear the bodywork. So now we need to bend a hook onto here. Don't know if we'll be able to see it while I'm doing it. Start with 45-degree bend, not 45, 90-degree bend in one direction, and then a 90-degree bend in the opposite direction, and then another 90-degree bend in the same direction, and another one in the same direction. So we make a little square, and then the last bit we bend in the opposite direction. Can we see that? That's our rubber band hook. So, for example, rubber band. Now what I'm going to do is at the other end here, I'm going to make some sort of a loop that's going to go into that slot, but we can lift it off and turn it at this end to wind up the rubber band rather than trying to wind up the propeller. Like that, to hold the rubber band. What we now need to do is make something that we can wind it up with. Now, one of the bargain stores was shutting down and selling everything off as cheap as they could. So these fishing reels were going for 12 pence, which is probably about 20 cents or something. Don't need the fishing line. I won't throw it away, but we don't need it for this purpose. So I should be able to get that off. Yeah. And then that spring we don't need. If I just drill down through there, I can put a bit of wire down through there, out here, shape it into a hook back and into there, and then we can use this. Oh, that's a bit stiff. It's only really cheap plastic stuff. But yeah, we can wind up our rubber band with that. Right, drilled my holes. So that can go up there. I'm making this up as I'm going along. Like this, something like that, which we can bend that into a hook. that to come back down through there. So it needs to be about that long. This is just garden wire, as it's called. It's fairly soft, as you can see, because I can bend it quite easily. Yeah, that ought to do. Then bend that into a nice loop like that. And that ought to work. Take that off there, hook that on there. Need to hold the boat still, which is going to be a problem. Yeah, I have to figure out a way of holding the boat still. But then we can wind it up. Yeah, that'll do the job. I need to sort out holding the boat still while I do it. I'll put a stick through there just to stop that end turning, because we don't want the propeller turning while we're winding up the rubber band. Just to give you a rough idea, I've taken the bit of bamboo skewer out of there so the propeller will turn. So I'll wind it up. Yeah, you can see the propeller turning. Put that in there to hold it still. It's like doing a model aeroplane. Few turns on there, put that in there, unhook that, so that's that end, and then we're going to have to, that's going to be a problem when we've got the superstructure in place, isn't it? Okay, and then remembering those edges might be sharp. Oh, that wasn't good. The rubber band broke. Didn't expect that. Well, never mind, they are very cheap rubber bands. So I'll put a fresh rubber band on there and we'll give it another go in the water. Right, see if we can do this with one hand. Release it. Oh, can't make it around the bend, too tight. Okay. Well, that's a bit disappointing because we've no idea how far it would have gone if it hadn't got stuck. Okay, well, we'll have to wind it up again. I'm actually using a double row of rubber bands now. Single row, well, it worked, but it was a bit slow and it kept breaking. So now we've got two lots of rubber bands there. Right, I'm going to have to launch this right-handed, going that way, so it might just possibly make it round the bend at that end of the bath. It's too tight at this end for it to get round. Yeah. Well, it works. I don't think we've got any problems there. As for how far it would go across a pond, no idea. One of those things I might try if the weather's right. but I wouldn't think we'd get right the way across that boating pond that I usually go to. And we're doing one circuit of the bath, which even at best, what, 3 meters? Then even if we double that to allow for the friction of it forcing its way around the edge of the bath, that's still only 6 meters. And I think we need probably 12 meters to get across the pond. So I doubt if we get all the way across the pond. But it does work. And we made up a winder for winding up the rubber band. I think that's why I keep breaking the motors on there, because I'm winding it up so much faster and putting so many more turns on there than I would normally do. Then I'm overstretching the motor. Yeah, pleased with that. Job done.